Hello and welcome to Mad About Sports for this live stream. And we are here to be talking about the World Cup because the World Cup is well and truly underway. But the first major upset of the World Cup taking place as USA, who nobody thought would be a major player in this tournament, decided to stun Pakistan in a thrilling encounter. Super over. You see a USA win. Nirjana Valkar, who was a former India player, what more do you want when it comes to drama? And Nitish Kumar once again making all the news. The guy who switches sides as is well known for his switch sides from Canada to USA in 2019. But Nitish Kumar is the talk of the town, not just in India but also everywhere. Him hitting that winning runs for helping USA to make it to that super over, and Pakistan losing to another minnow nation. I mean, tell me about it. I've Jen once again joining on this Mad About Sports Hunch. Thank you so much, Jen, for joining here. And as you all know, Jaren is a analyst. He's worked with multiple teams and leagues before. One of the former, he has worked with TNPL and also with Karnataka Premier League as well in his experience. So great to have Jaren. Obviously, you can bring his data. He's going to be bringing his data and his insights into the arena of Mad About Sports as well. Welcome, Jevin. How are you doing? And I hope you're doing good.
Yeah, thank you, Abel, so much for that very extensive welcome. I think, yeah, I mean, it's been a great start though for the World Cup. I think IPL had just gotten over. We were still hung over with all that happened in IPL, but it's been back to traditional T20 cricket. If you can definitely, if you can call it that, you're not seeing any more 240s. You're not seeing any more 250s, but you're still seeing quality cricket. And I think some of the countries, there are I think 20 countries this time around in the World Cup with
Yep.
five in each of the four groups. So 20 countries, a lot of new talent to be seen. But USA, I think while many people are surprised that they've beaten Pakistan, you'd have to say that it's been a combination of two, right? It's been meteoric rise by USA. They did beat Bangladesh, I think 2 weeks back, couple of times on the trot, back to back. And then Pakistan's meteoric fall, if that's the best way to put it. They've really struggled in the past few years, or I mean, at least past few months. I think the one day cricket switch and then again the switch back to T20 cricket has really not helped them out. And it showed yesterday, right? It just was one day cricket level batting, I think, except for Shadab Khan and Shaheen Shah Afridi. No one really seemed to play at that kind of a pace. And then
Yep.
after coasting to 159, the pace ballers and the spinners, they really just looked toothless. And I think
Yep.
a USA win was just on the cards.
So the first question we have to talk about is because this tournament has already been, the picture around pitches in USA. Because major talking point of this tournament has been the pitch, especially in New York, not so much in Texas and Dallas, but the fact of the matter is, in Dallas, we've seen some good cricket wickets being played out in the last 1 year. You've seen MLC being played there. You saw also that first game between the USA and Canada, where you saw 195 being chased down quite comfortably. But whereas in New York, you've seen a lot more questionable wickets which has been played out. How do you judge the pitch in Dallas thus far? Because I thought it was a good cricket wicket at the end of the day. Because initially there was a lot of swing, but once the pitch settled out, uh, you don't see that to be a pitch of 160. I still thought it was a 180 odd pitch or 175 pitch.
Yeah, I think it was. The Dallas pitch is definitely one of the better pitches that are on offer from USA in terms of the batting. It did seem like a very, you would have to say it did seem like a very normal uh, cricket pitch where it was coming onto the bat in a decent way. There wasn't much there for the bowlers, though, you'd have to say, and that's where just felt like Pakistan were easily 20 runs short. Just felt like they were coasting away without a care in the world. Maybe they just felt like 150, 160 is enough, and it was way too late for them to realize that they've gone on too far without really attacking the USA bowlers. I think that's the
Yeah,
one aspect of it. Secondly, I think just talking about the pitches, I think the New York pitch has been the most fresh one, right? In
yeah,
terms of drop-in pitches, the rest of them have, as you mentioned, have already been played in MLC. I think the one we played yesterday was the Dallas one. There already is an MLS team that plays there. Texas one, obviously, the Texas Super Kings already play on them.
yeah.
So we've already had a year of cricketing cycle
I think
played
not
over.
just Texas Super Kings, a lot of MLC matches were played in
Yeah,
the Dallas ground, because that was the only major ground in USA, in central USA. Other than that, you had one in Florida, and yeah, that was the only two grounds where majority of the MLC games were played. And now the New York Stadium just came about.
Yeah, and I think the ICC's already said that they're working on it. From what I can understand, when they put in a drop-in pitch, they try and infuse the ground, the outfield to that particular pitch, and there's something they use called the grass veins, where
Okay.
they attempt to stitch it together. If that's the best way to describe it. Now, I myself am not a very good expert on it, but I
But
think
yeah,
what
Jen, you have
happens is,
seen in your tenure with different teams, you have inspected pitches, right? How do you see this USA pitch in comparison with any other pitch? Because
yeah.
that's what everybody wants to know. And let's talk about the Dallas pitch, because people are still saying the Pakistani camp are blaming it on the pitch already. This loss. So do you say it's justified? Because New York pitch, yes, but Dallas, can you still justify it?
No, absolutely not, and that's my point, right? I think you have to say that the New York pitch is a dangerous one, and I think there's no qualms about it. We saw how Sri Lanka looked absolutely clueless when South Africans rained down on them with that kind of pace bowling. No, I understand that South African pace bowling is a very difficult one to face, especially when the ball is being unpredictable. But we saw that with the Irish bowlers as well. We saw that with the Indian bowlers as well. I think Rohit Sharma and I think Balbirnie, if I'm not wrong, who was on the receiving end of it on both the ends. Or was it?
Yeah,
I think it was a different Irish batter, if I'm not wrong. But there were
Harry
two
Tector.
separate incidents. Yeah, Harry Tector. Thank you. Two separate incidents in the same in two different innings. So that is definitely a difficult pitch to bat on, and I think ninth you'll probably see a slightly more benign pitch, because from what I can understand,
Yeah,
there are a lot more works being done on it.
yeah,
But even personally, I've never worked on a drop-in pitch, right? I think for me, I've always worked on traditional grounds. Drop-in pitches are very artificial in nature. It
yeah.
requires a lot more, I think, engineering, if that's and
I
a
mean,
lot
I
more.
remember you sharing me a story of when you were in Adelaide. You were talking about how you have seen these pitches. That's why I brought that conversation. But nonetheless, thank you for that clarification, Jared.
Yeah.
But coming back to the point again, Babar Azam, I think we have to talk about him to start off with, because every Pakistan game without talking about Babar Azam does feel a little incomplete. So, Babar Azam's failure with the bat, there was a point where he was 10 runs of 26 balls and scoring 44 or 43 balls in the same ground when your opposite batter scored 40 of 25. How do you talk through it? Because Ramesh Raja and Wasim Akram were totally defending Babar Azam on the other end, right? They were like, you know what? That's still an amazing knock in that ground.
No, I think so. Not. I mean, it's pretty clear, right? It was absolutely a very underwhelming innings, a very negative impact innings, and I think Babar Azam's always struggled in terms of upping his strike rate in that first 6 overs. He's always had a strike rate of 117 throughout his career in the first 6 overs. He's got a healthy average, but of course, in modern T20 cricket, that's never going to help, right? 117 is just about run a ball. He needs to really improve that, and I think that's where teams are really going to be like be happy about this kind of batting, that if he goes about to do it. I think yesterday's wicket again wasn't the kind of wicket where you would play that kind of innings. You really needed to make an impact in the power play. That's what they failed to do. You saw
Yeah,
Monak Patel, right, the captain for USA, really make that impact. Now, you would have to say that on a different day, with a different target, even his innings was really not as good as you would probably like. But
yeah.
at the end of the day, USA is still a country that's still learning
Then
cricket.
you
And
yourself have worked with players from US. I mean, can you share some of the anecdotes of how the preparation is? Because I remember you've told me about you worked with someone like Mohan Patel as well during the COVID time. So how is it? How does this team prepare themselves before this World Cup? Because nobody better than you to talk about this in depth.
yeah, I think from what I can understand, from what I remember at least, they do believe in a system where a very traditional system, where the opener's idea is to ensure that they protect the batters lower down the order with the new ball, and that's probably what their idea was yesterday as well. Where you've got Shaheen Shafridi, Mohammad Amir, Naseem Shah really running at you. The new ball is their strength, and once you deny them wickets from the new ball, then that attack really comes down. Then you've got likes of Aaron Jones, Corey Anderson, of course, who will not forget him.
Yeah.
I think someone like him, even Andres Gauss, right? I think these are the
Yep.
lads. The top three is really important for this team, and that's
Yeah.
what we saw yesterday. Even though Steven Taylor didn't really play long enough, he did play 3 overs, and then
Yeah.
for Monak Patel and Andres Gauss to really continue batting from there on, that really helps the likes of Aaron Jones and then Nitish Kumar to come out there and be much more protected from the aggressive pace bowling. So it's pretty much what they believed in, and I think 160 really suits their kind of approach to batting. He will.
I agree. I mean, 160 looked like a very good score, and they made it quite comfortable as well. I mean, the chase they had, yeah, I agreed. Towards the latter end, Pakistan did try to pull things back with some good dead bowling. They executed the Yorker as well, but on the other end of things, we have to give credit to USA's bowling here because I thought the game was made with USA's bowling, especially Nushtosh Kenjenge. I mean, how impressive was he as a left-arm spinner against a subcontinental team to pick up 3 wickets? And obviously, we'll have to talk about the man of the moment, that is Netra Walkar. I mean, he was outstanding. There was a terrific catch picked by Steven Taylor to dismiss Rizwan, but then Netra Walkar up top, that spell he had, he kept both Rizwan and Babar in check right throughout.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think especially a lot of already spoken on the way he balled towards the end yesterday, but still ice in his veins. Getting hit on the second delivery for a boundary. I know you've got 19 in the bank. I know Pakistan did not have the momentum as well, but it's still you'd still say at that point in time that Pakistan had the upper hand. They've been in this situation at least when it comes to at a higher level than USA has been. With just ice in his veins, he kept it calm, kept it very simple, and that's been pretty much his philosophy. He doesn't really. He's really not an imposing guy as maybe a Shaheen Shafridi or Mohammad Amir for that matter, or even a Bumrah. Right? He's someone who balls just the right pace to be able to get the ball through and be able to. He's a clever cricketer. One of those cricketers you really can't get away with. You really have to either really high effort or high application of skill to really get away with. And you just felt like Pakistan batters did not have either of it. They were just absolutely enamored by the situation of playing their first game in a different country altogether. And I think Netravalkar really utilized it. I mean, he is someone who's who played under 19 cricket for India. And I think a lot of that, right? A lot of Indian origin players really shining through yesterday.
Absolutely. I mean, there is no doubt about it. A lot of them, and that's how the mix up of the USA team also has been. You've got a good bunch of Indians, then you've got some Barbadians, then a couple of players from Pakistan as well. So that's a good mix to have that team. But when we talk about this USA team's victory, they are almost on the cusp of qualifying into Super 8 now. Now, if
Yeah.
Pakistan lose to India, all that USA has to do is to defeat Ireland, which they're quite capable of doing so. How impressive is this story going to turn out? Because nobody even expected USA to really make it out of the group. Okay, people still gave Ireland a chance because Ireland just defeated Pakistan a month ago, and Ireland is quite capable of doing things like this in a world stage, and we've seen that previously. But USA, understandable, it's in their home ground, but still to pull out a result like this, to keep that calm and composure throughout the 20 overs and even in super over, it looked like Pakistan was a team who was panicking throughout, and USA just knew how to do things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was just amazing to see, wasn't it? Where, like you rightly mentioned, USA just kept themselves calm. They kept kept things very simple. I mean, I know it's a cliche we keep saying again and again, but yesterday was a very good example of keeping things simple. They did not over try too many deliveries. They did not over try too many things. I think one thing that really surprised me, for instance, Abel, was Mohammad Amir bowled a brilliant 19th over, right? It was the very reason why they were able to ensure that the last over was a thriller, because it just seemed like they're going to coast through USA, but then Mohammad Amir comes in, nails Yorkers. You mentioned that already. He showed that he's a seasoned pro. But then comes the super over and everything shifts, right? He's attempting to strangle the batter down the leg side. A lot of things that he kept trying. Now, I understand the idea was right. It was the longer side of the boundary, but for some reason, you felt like Nitra Valkar was able to get his uh, application much more better. He was able to get the execution of his plans much better, and the fielding as well, right? When you talk about Minnow Nation, people, you always talk I think if you don't use a tag Mino Nation, you probably can't anymore with the way US is performed. But you talk about a lesser experienced country, you usually see the one skill that they lack in is their fielding. But yesterday you saw absolute stunners being taken, and you saw Pakistan making a mess, a hot mess out of maybe simple uh, fielding drills.
Once
So
again, it's classic Pakistan as they say it.
classic Pakistan, absolutely. And I think those were the moments, right? Just the fact that USA did not score a lot of boundaries in that 19-run super over. It was just absolute chaotic fielding from Pakistan and very
Yeah,
smart running between the wickets that you saw USA get to 19.
yeah,
And you do not see the same from Pakistan. They attempted to bludgeon every delivery. They did not seem like they were, strategizing every plan that they were. Maybe there was no plan at all. It was just
yeah.
one idea, hope that everything comes to the middle of the bat, and it just did not.
Absolutely, and I think somewhere down the line, the Pakistan team will be really hurting with this loss, and they're really going to think about this a big way. Gary Kirsten is at the helm of things. I don't know what he's going to talk to Babar Azam. It's just the way Babar Azam was frustrated. But coming to the super over tactics, right? Were you surprised that they went Mohammad Amir in that super over because they had a Shaheen, they had a Naseem. Okay, understandable that Harris had a bad over, so they were definitely not going Harris, but Naseem and Shaheen, would you have still gone to a Mohammad Amir who was making a comeback into a team?
No, I think it wasn't a bad idea to get Mohammad Amir in because he simply brought you back into the game, right? When everyone else seemed like they were struggling, and I'm not saying Shaheen did, but just Mohammad Amir seemed like the best bowler in that phase for Pakistan yesterday. So that is not my issue, right? My main concern here, Abel, is just attempting to try too many things, and it just seemed like Pakistan were not in it yesterday, right? And mentally, especially, just seemed like super over was something they just did not expect. And I think Pakistan should have looked at super over as a way to come back into the game. But they rather I just felt like they looked at super over like a humiliation already. As if they'd already lost. As if they already knew what Twitter is gonna say, or the newspapers are gonna say, or the media was going to say. And I don't think USA had any of this, right? For USA, maybe in their heads, it just felt like they believe they've done it. And maybe if they win from here, it's just a bonus.
I agree. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, USA took the game that deep, and for USA, it was always going to be about, yeah, you fought really hard, and for Pakistan, it was always going to be like, you let USA do this. So that's a good perspective to look into things. But coming back to the point again, for Pakistan, what's ahead for them? How do you see them coming up against India? It's never easy to go into an India Pakistan game when you are getting this kind of flack back home, and you know how Pakistan media works and how Pakistan fans are. They are very ruthless, and they've given their message already to Pakistan. And now going into this India game, it's just worst possible time for them to play India.
You can say it's the worst possible time and the best possible time as well because last T20 World Cup as well, Pakistan did lose to Zimbabwe. They did have,
Yeah, but let's be honest.
I mean,
Zimbabwe, then they had
it's a
Netherlands,
mercurial
then they played
nature of
South Africa.
it's a mercurial nature of Pakistan cricket table, and
Yeah, that's the
the
different
best
point, right? It's
Pakistan
not
teams have
playing
been
India
about.
again. Like if you're playing India after losing to Zimbabwe, it's a different ball game altogether. Because for
Yeah,
Pakistan, they always have considered India to be the game to win, right? It's never been about it's never been about another game. They could. It's not about them playing without any pressure. India game, there was always pressure, and after this loss to go to an India game, it's a different ball game altogether.
you're right. I mean, if you really think about it, India are the more confident side. They seem like the better side on paper as well. Pakistan batting looks absolutely in disarray. I think the only two batters you can probably think of right now is Shadab Khan
Yeah,
and Fakhar Zaman. Saeem Ayub again is not in the picture. Azam Khan is, I think he's probably the most trolled person in Pakistan. So
yeah,
there's no point in adding any more to the trolls and to the criticisms.
yeah.
I think they really need Fakhar Zaman to step up. They really need Shadab Khan. It was really nice Shadab Khan really step up, right? It's been a while since he's had a performance that's impacted Pakistan in a positive way. And then you really needed Shaheen Shafidi to come in and have the rescue act. Now, the question is, how much more difficult is it going to be? What's the pitch we're going to see in New York? Is it going to be a lot more tamer than what we've seen against Ireland, against in the Sri Lanka South Africa game? That's point number one. they might still believe, and I think if Pakistan bat ball first, they might still believe they can get a good bowling display up ahead. I think that is going to be the way to go, where they hope that they restrict India to a lower total and then somehow manage against the Indian bowling lineup. Because India also don't really look settled, right? They did come up with Ravindra Jadeja and Akshar Patel, which nobody really expected. People expected the Kulcha or at least
Yeah,
one of either the Kul or the Cha to show
yeah,
up.
yeah.
But India's gone with full
So
batting
I
lineup.
have another question here for you as well, Jen, especially when we
Yeah.
talk about the biggest upsets in this tournament, like before we end the stream. How do you rate this? Is this the biggest upset ever, or would you rate it down to that?
I think it's the biggest upset ever. A team that's playing their first ever World Cup game to beat a one-time World Cup winning champion. I think two-time, three-time finalist. If you add the season they won as well, the year they won as well, that is massive, and it doesn't get bigger than that, right? It doesn't get bigger when you have a host nation who's playing their first ever tournament to completely, you would have to say they were dominant, and it was just a last few overs that really took it to the super over.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen a dominant upset of this
yeah,
level, and it is the
absolutely,
biggest for me, and in terms
absolutely.
of the storylines as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jiren. I mean, it's a pleasure talking about this game in depth, obviously, and thank you so much for even giving those major talking points as well. Once again, reminding you all to check out our course with Cricket Analytics. Jiren is one of those cricket analysts who work in different firms across the world, and he has worked with teams and he's worked in some leagues as well. Not the IPLs, but yeah, the TNPLs, Karnataka Premier League, and he's worked currently in Australia as well in the recent past with the Queensland Bulls minor leagues. So thank you so much, Jaren. Have a good time, all of you, and see you all soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye, guys.